The Russo-Ukrainian War is not just a war between two nations. It's a war between countries and other superpowers of the Far East and NATO. Aside from Ukraine's fight to get out of the grasp of Russia, this fight is also a fight that indirectly involves the United States. This war will determine if the West will remain in its highest seat of power, or if the China-Russia tandem move up from their current position. But then again, the US is determined to secure its power because another key player has been introduced to the battlefield, the ATACMS missile.
Jungle.
ATACMS missile. The Army Tactical Missile System, ATACMS missile, is an all-weather, surface-to-surface, and long-range guided missile manufactured by U.S. defense company Lockheed Martin. These missiles come with an improved guidance package with global positioning system, which is defining the U.S. brand. Russia has been known to use a tactic that they used in World War II: bombard enemy lines. What Russian troops have done is they send out as much firepower out to the battlefield. This may not be precise, but the damage it creates covers a wide range of land. This approach requires a huge amount of ammunition, which, of course, the superpower has. On the other hand, the US-backed Ukraine does the exact opposite: shoots seldom, but accurately. Ukraine does not have as much firepower, so they make sure every missile they launch counts. And because of this approach, this is exactly why these deadly guided missiles are the perfect addition to Ukraine's artillery. Today, these missiles are in the artillery of multiple nations all over the globe, such as Greece, South Korea, Poland, UAE, and Romania, to name a few. Precision is key. This Western principle of shooting seldom but accurately has displayed its superiority on the battlefield. It has been particularly seen through the American High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, HIMARS, which has been used to launch missiles. The ATACMS missiles can also be launched by the HIMARS, along with the Multiple Launch Rocket System, MLRS. These launchers and guided missiles have been proven to hit their targets accurately, as its goal is to hit within 10 feet of their target. Aside from the accuracy of the missiles, it also has an impressive range, being able to hit a target from more than 100 miles out. Now, that's what you call insane power and precision. Specifications. The deadly ATACMS missiles have a height of 13 feet and a diameter of 24 inches. These missiles can be fired at a range of up to 300 kilometers or 190 miles. These deadly weapons can be fired using the Tracked Multiple Launch Rocket System, MLRS, and the Wheeled High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, HIMARS. Aside from its mind-blowing precision and range, these missiles have another special quality: deceit. An ATACMS launch container has a lid patterned with 6 circles, similar to a standard MLRS rocket lid, but the difference is that it contains only one missile. This design is identical to a standard rocket, which makes it difficult for enemies to identify the missile as a high-value target. It's great firepower hiding in an unassuming design. There are 5 variants of ATACMS: the M39, M39A1, M48, M57, and M57E1. M39 ATACMS Block 1 is a guided missile with inertia. A total of 950 M74 anti-personnel and anti-material bomblets are carried on board. These have a range of 25 to 165 kilometers and were mostly produced between 1990 and 1997. The production of this variant ceased when the M39A1, an upgraded model, was introduced. The M39 is the only variant that can be fired by all M270 and M142 launcher variants. M39A1 ATACMS Block 1A missile is designed with GPS-aided guidance. It carries 300 M74 anti-personnel and anti-material APAM bomblets and has a range of 20 to 300 kilometers. The M39A1 variants were produced between 1997 and 2003. The M39A1 type missiles, as well as all ATACMS missiles introduced later on, can only be launched by M270A1 launchers or their variants and M142 launchers. M48 ATACMS Quick Reaction Unitary (QRU) missile has GPS-aided guidance. This variant carries the 230 kg WDU-18B penetrating high-explosive blast fragmentation warhead of the U.S. Navy's Harpoon anti-ship missile, which was eventually redesignated as WAU-23B warhead section when used in ATACMS. The M48 has a range of 70 to 300 kilometers and was produced between 2001 and 2004. The production of the variant ceased when a newer model, M57, was introduced. M57 ATACMS TACMS 2000 missile is crafted with GPS-aided guidance. It carries the same WAU-23B warhead section as its predecessor, with the same range of 70 to 300 kilometers. This variant was produced between 2004 and 2013. It has an accuracy with 30 feet CEP, circular error probability. M57E1 ATACMS Modification (MOD) missile is engineered with GPS-aided guidance. It is an upgraded version of the M39 and M39A1 that has been regrained. The M57E1 has also been updated in terms of navigation and guidance software and hardware. This variant also replaces the M74 APAM bomblets with a WAU-23B warhead section. Furthermore, the M57E1 includes a proximity sensor for air burst detonation. The production of this latest model was initiated in 2017. As seen through these variants, it is visible that Lockheed Martin has been continuously upgrading the features of the missiles by improving both its range and accuracy. The ATACMS initial model simply began with inertial guidance until it was improved to a GPS-aided one. The latest even has a proximity sensor for better accuracy. Implications. With such range and accuracy, Ukraine would now be capable of attacking the Crimean Bridge, which has become an important element for the transport of supplies of Russian troops, Russian military depots and airfields, and other Russian-based areas. With the ATACMS's range, Ukraine can even strike Kaluga in Russia, which is already located as far away as the suburbs of Moscow. Furthermore, it is important to note how the first variant of the missile is not guided by GPS, but with proper positioning, it can still deal a great deal of damage to a specific area. This is because even the earliest version of the missile is still better than the unguided Russian missiles that are simply launched for bombarding enemy lines. These guided missiles, especially the more advanced and accurate ones, can deal much more damage to Russian bases. So, regardless of which variant Ukraine receives, the ATACMS missiles are bound to greatly devastate the enemy. If it were true that the Guided Multiple Launch Rocket System (GMLRS) missiles already have destroyed 400 Russian military installations and bases and managed to stop the Russian offensive, then the launch of the ATACMS missiles will surely be a huge pushback to the Russian troops. Future plans. The Pentagon has already considered the ATACMS missiles to be formidable weapons. So, in the coming years, these missiles are to be replaced by Long-Range Precision Fires, LRPF, Operational Tactical Missile Systems, which will be armed with Precision Strike Missile, PRSM, missiles, which are currently still in the process of being developed. These PRSM missiles will initially just hit stationary targets on land, but it is planned that later versions of the weapon will be able to track moving targets both on land and sea. Once these newer missile systems are launched, the decommissioning of the ATACMS will begin. The sheer power of the ATACMS had made way for the creation of a more advanced yet similar missile system. The PRSM missile's tentative capabilities are based on the performance and history of the former. The ATACMS missiles simply began with inertial guidance, without the capability of correcting its course when launched, but newer models have been modified with GPS to improve that flaw. The U.S. intervention. One of the highlights of the progression of the Russo-Ukrainian war is the United States backing Ukraine. The Biden administration has been sending aid towards the said country, mostly by sending them artillery and boatloads of cash. Throughout the previous 12 months, the U.S. has already sent Ukraine many different types of weaponry and missile systems, which greatly assisted the latter in their fight against Russia. In the beginning of the conflict, Ukraine definitely was on the losing end. But with outside assistance, especially from the United States, known to have some of the most advanced weapons, the battlefield has sort of become leveled. With the added firepower, Ukraine has been able to fight back and even cripple Russian enemy lines. To be fair, Ukraine's military tactics have already been impressive in itself, despite using old weaponry. So, having access to more powerful and advanced weapons just made the nation more capable of protecting itself. On the other hand, for the United States, its support towards Ukraine does not only put the nation in a good light, it also displays its power. In some way, the US's assistance showed the world what advanced weapon systems they have on their sleeves, a gentle reminder not to taunt the most powerful military in the world. In a world with superpower countries, it's important to secure seats of power because others are just waiting for the right opportunity to grab that from them. But with this great show of power, there is no doubt that the global demand for these powerful US weapons will expand. Conclusion. For Ukraine, the added firepower will definitely assist with their fight against the more powerful Russian military. Ukraine has been able to shift the tide in their favor thanks to their strategic planning and the support from other nations, especially and most notably the United States. However, Russia is known for its intense military power, so having these ATACMS missiles in their artillery and knowing where to aptly use it is a good way to push back. The ATACMS missiles have the promising capability of seriously crippling Russian military bases, so the world is in tune as to how these weapons will be used in the war. No one knows for sure when the conflict between the two nations will end, but one thing is for sure. Ukraine will not just be pushed around and bullied by the superpower Russia. As of today, Ukraine has more than just a fighting chance. It's still a long way down the road, but with the right pegs, Ukraine might just win this war against Russia.